guys, it's Drew. So today at school, my friend was drinking this, I don't know, water, I guess, and it came in this cool little glass bottle. So when he was done, I asked him if I could have it because I had a really cool idea of what to do with it. So I took off the cap and the little plastic ring. I just managed to cut that off after running it under hot water. And so now we've got this cute, I just said that twice, green bottle, and I rinsed it out the inside and out because you always have to make sure that you get everything off before you ever think of doing a project. And so what I thought would be neat is to decoupage it with some colored tissue paper and turn it into a vase or just a cute little decorative bottle. I thought it would be really cool in my head. It would be really cool to cut this part off. But since I'm only 15, I don't really have access to power tools, and I don't even know if my dad has anything that could cut through glass or if I would be able to get it to look nice without being sharp. But if you can do that and want to do that, then definitely go ahead and try and let me know how it works out. But I'm going to leave this on, and so you just need 5 items. You need instant decoupage, and since I grew up in a crafty house, I have this on hand always. If you don't, you can just use Elmer's glue, should work. But if you can, definitely go with this because this is like a sealer and it will last much longer and look much nicer. Like Elmer's glue, it doesn't dry shiny, it's kind of matte, and this looks shiny. You're gonna need a paintbrush, and if you're like me and you do projects and you forget to wash off your paintbrush, then you wanna use one that is not new or expensive. Like, we've got a ton of paintbrushes, and I know this one is like some cheapy one, and it's a kid's brush, so it's really thick. And I always get in trouble when I leave stuff because when you leave stuff in paintbrushes and you don't wash them out, they get hard and you can't use them unless you soak them and wash them and spend all this time. And you're also going to need some sandpaper. Unfortunately, this is, what is this? It's not a fine grit, I think, because I just happen to have this in the house and I knew where it was. I know I've got finer or smoother, finer grain or grit somewhere, but I don't know where, and my dad's not home, so I can't ask him. So I'm just using this, and what you're going to need to do, oh, and you also need some tissue paper, or any paper that's not too thick that you would want. Maybe you could magazine paper, just you can't do too much because it's a small bottle. And so what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take your sandpaper, and anytime you use glass and you're going to glue stuff on, you need to make sure that it's rough, because when things are smooth, it doesn't work. So if you use Fimo and you make those little beads, like, you have to rough it up because then it can stick into the cracks. And so you're gonna just take your sandpaper, and you might want to get a paper towel. I'm gonna go get a paper towel. Okay, so I just got a paper towel just to make sure that my workspace is clean and nothing gets anywhere. And so you're just gonna start sanding the bottle, and it's gonna lose, it's gonna make a really awful sound. But it's not going to be as shiny, but it doesn't matter because we're covering it up. And you're going to start to see the lines, and you're going to feel a difference. And this is really bad sandpaper to use, so definitely use the really fine one. So once you have it sanded, you want to go ahead and wash it off, because otherwise the dust will still be there, and that's just another thing that will make the glue not stick. So now it's sanded. You can, I don't know if you can see, but it's like not shiny, and it is washed, so it's clean. And when you're sanding, you might want to wear glasses or something to protect your eyes, and don't touch your eyes once your hands are all sandy because it's bad. And so now I guess I'm gonna pick some tissue paper colors and start cutting. Okay, so then next you're gonna take the tissue paper colors that you chose. Since I have a green bottle, I just chose cool colors: purple, blue, green, and some white. I love purple, so that's why I chose that, and I like blue and green also. So then you just cut them into, you can cut them into strips and little squares, or you can rip it however you want. And cut as many as you think you'll need. This is a small bottle, so I don't think I'll need that much, and then I can also always cut more. And you can always cut different shapes, like heart, you know, some of these initial, whatever. So what you're gonna do next, you're gonna take your decoupage or your glue, and you're gonna start decoupaging. So you take some decoupage and you put it on the spot where you are gonna put your paper, and then you put the tissue paper on. And it doesn't matter if the tissue paper is crinkly or old, or just usually the only problem is if it's ripped, but it gets crinkled anyway and then it gets smoothed out, so it doesn't matter if it's old or crinkly. Like if you want to reuse paper that you have from old gift wrapping, this is a good time to do so. So you put on glue, you put on a piece of paper, and you paint the glue over it, and you just keep doing that. Okay. So now I have finished putting on all the tissue paper, and I got the bottom and around the rim. I didn't go too much inside because I might be using this for flowers, and I wouldn't want it to get ruined because of water, even though it's supposed to be a sealant. If you want it to last a long time, you have to be careful. So it's drying right now. The one thing is that if you can see this, when you get tissue paper wet or gluey, the color runs. So you touching it, you're gonna get the colors on you. I washed my hands and I'm not obviously touching it because it is still dry. The color comes off, so you don't even have to worry about that. My hands are completely clean. But you want to make sure that you have a cover for your workspace. I'm not wearing any, I'm just wearing regular clothes. This is what I wear to school today. But if you are a messy person, or if you think that you would get messy, then you might want to put on just some clothes that you don't care about, just in case. So it's drying, and once I put on all of the tissue paper squares that I wanted, I let it dry, and then I just put on a coat of decoupage over the whole thing, and I'm letting it dry. And so you put the decoupage over the whole thing to make sure that you've got everything covered, to make sure it's completely sealed, to make sure it's all even and it's all going to stay, and you just want to make sure you don't have any really gluey areas. You want it to all be even. Also, just because you put on this layer doesn't mean you have to be done. If it dries, things do look different when they're dry, so if it dries and you don't like the way it looks, or you want to put on more, you can. So don't even worry about that. But I'm going to let mine dry, and I'm going to see what it looks like, and that's it. Okay, so while this is drying, I'm just going to give you some tips. Again, paintbrushes. Use cheap ones that you don't care about in case they do get messed up. I cleaned this out really well, and there's still some in here, and that's okay. A little bit left is okay, but don't use anything that you don't want to potentially ruin. So, decoupage. If you don't have decoupage, you can use glue. If you're not sure if what you have will work, you can always Google it, and there will always be a website to tell you what you can use. Sandpapering. you might want to cover your eyes while you're doing this, and definitely don't touch your eyes. I did this and it got all sandy, and then I rubbed my eyes, and that was not a good idea. And you just always want to be careful and make sure that you're protected. And clothing, wear stuff that you are okay with getting messy. Possibly, I didn't get it messy at all. It might wash out, but if it doesn't, you don't want to wear something that you're upset about. Cover your workspace, you save your scraps, and just, you know, do something like our teacher always tells us to do something that we're interested in, because we won't get bored of it and we'll always want to use it. And so I love these colors. I love doing stuff like this. I love decoupaging. And so this was a really fun project for me. It's a project that a lot of people would like to do. If you're doing it with young kids, you definitely want to help them when they're sanding, because sanding the glass is a little bit difficult, and it is glass, so you always want to be careful. And you have to be sure of the bottle you're using. It has to be glass, and depending on the color, that depends on the colors that you can use. So because this was green, like I said, I chose cool colors because I knew that they would stay the same. But if you're using, let's say, a yellow bottle and you want to put blue on it, that blue, if you're using tissue paper, that blue will turn green. And so if you want to use colors and you don't want them to change, you might have to use a thicker paper, which again is difficult on bottles like these. If you have something more straight up and down, it'll be easier. And so that's pretty much it. You might want to keep your hair tied back if you've got long hair, and always make sure that your glue is covered or it will dry out, your workspace is covered, and you want to let your bottle sit at least overnight. And that's it. Okay, so now my bottle is dry. When it's dry, you can touch it, but you always want to just always be sure, because your fingerprints can get on it if it's not dry, and then you're going to have to repaint it or re-decoupage it over that section, and it's going to have to dry longer. And so then once it's dry, it can be used for decorative purposes. You could use it, depending on the shape, as a vase. Just always take good care of it. It's probably not a good idea to put it in the dishwasher. If you need to rinse it out, you could rinse out the inside, but you don't want to wash the outside or scrub the outside, because this is still paper and it can still get wet if you leave it in water for too long. And so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and this will be your finished product.